Last month, the Urban Institute took a look at the 100 largest metro areas in the country and ranked them for economic security. Now, economic security takes into consideration 4 factors: unemployment, the trend in your housing prices, the overall price of your housing, and the share of homeowners in your community that are having trouble making payments. They call it economic security. It's kind of an indicator of your community's peace of mind. Well, we did pretty well. In fact, we were ranked number 1 in the country in economic security. We were the only city in the United States to receive straight A's in all 4 categories, so congratulations. And then this past week, new national data on home sales is released. Both Oklahoma City and Tulsa are on the list of 2 of the top housing markets in the country. We are highlighted both for affordability and for increased sales. In other words, it doesn't matter if you own a home or if you need a home, Oklahoma City is a good place to be. I think one way that economic security interacts with our current economy is that it helps create consumer confidence. And I remember back in August, I was reading a national business magazine, and it said that consumer confidence was at some level of a historic low. People throughout the country reluctant to spend money. And it makes sense. If you're concerned about your finances, if you don't have economic security, it's hard to write a check for a discretionary purpose. Well, that very same week that the U.S. was experiencing a low point in consumer confidence, we in Oklahoma City opened a new outlet mall. Do you remember what happened? 160,000 people showed up. The turnout shattered all industry records for an opening weekend. When people have economic security, they are willing to invest in new products and services. And then the people that build those products and services are likely to expand their businesses and hire new people. Let me tell you about another illustration of a driving economy. It's a dynamic factor in consumer confidence, and that's construction. When large public companies are investing in their infrastructure, like Devon and Chesapeake, Sandridge, Continental Resources, Hobby Lobby, just to name a few. When people see the bulldozers and the cranes necessary to build a new interstate highway, when downtown seems like a series of orange cones, when you're constructing new libraries and new schools, when there is construction at the zoo and construction on the river, when the dirt is flying, people realize that their local businesses and their local governments are investing in their future. And there may be no better way to visually fuel consumer confidence than construction. From a revenue perspective, our city is in a very envious position. Most cities in the United States are still trying to get back to their pre-recession levels. We have been above our pre-recession levels for over 2 years. We are still recording record revenue. Tourism is getting better and better. Bricktown's brand continues to grow. The performing arts community is attracting visitors. Our museums are gaining national attention. In 2011, exhibits like Passages brought tens of thousands of people to Oklahoma City. New hotels are opening. And I am especially encouraged by the progress made on the funding aspect of the American Indian Cultural Center. And I look forward to the day when that opens and helps us illustrate our proud heritage. Outside of tourism, don't look now, but the aviation sector and the biomedical sector are thriving. Higher paying jobs are coming in by the thousands. In the last 8 years, over 80,000 new jobs have been created in our metro economy. Our position relative to the world's economy is much similar to last year. We should not and we cannot ignore the fact that many of the world's financial markets are weak. And as good as our local economy is, our economy would be doing even better if the national economy and the world economies were doing better. So here's my take on our local economy. Knowing what we know, and knowing that you can't ever be sure of what calamity might be just around the corner, we have every reason to be optimistic. We are attracting talent. Banks are gaining confidence in Oklahoma City's ability to support new projects. Our population growth and our per capita income are going up at rates that exceed the national average. On the flip side, we need to continue to diversify our economy, because as much time as we've spent investing resources on creating jobs in aviation and the biomedical fields and manufacturing, the energy sector continues to multiply and is getting larger and larger. It is a really good problem to have, but we must make sure our economy looks at and encourages other market sectors. Also remember that we have three fundamental advantages compared to most other major cities that we inherited from past generations. One, we have a large Air Force base that gets great respect from the Pentagon. Two, we have 3 interstate highways that pass through our city. And 3, we are the state capital. Now, these 3 factors were great accomplishments by leaders long gone. Tinker Air Force Base was born as a great example of the ongoing relationship between City Hall and our local business leaders. The fact that we have 3 interstate highways going all the way through our city is not an accident. Our leadership of nearly 100 years ago worked hard to ensure that major roads led to Oklahoma City. And as for being the state capital, we had to steal that in the middle of the night. And we're not going to give that back. Then there are the elements that we in this generation have created. The factors that have really started to set our city apart from others. 1, investments in infrastructure that are unparalleled. 2, a thriving arts and sports community. And 3, a general culture of entrepreneurship, of faith, and of diversity. So, in the coming years, how are we likely to fare in our ever-growing competition with other cities? How are we likely to compare with our peers for jobs and the quality of life? Well, I can tell you sincerely, I would not want to be them. We're going to do well. As for the state of our city, I would be remiss if I did not spend some time, though, discussing the state of our health. Principally, too many of us smoke and too many of us overeat. 3 reasons, though, that our community's health is likely to get better. 1, our per capita income is rising. Higher income and better health almost always go hand in hand. 2, we're making a number of infrastructure changes that I think are going to help. New gymnasiums, new sidewalks, new jogging trails, new bike lanes, new parks, new pedestrian-friendly streets, wellness centers for seniors. The City-County Board of Health is building an entire campus of health-related services. Overall, it's a whole new attitude to prioritize health and design our infrastructure to interact with people at the same time it interacts with cars. And 3, we're doing better on the awareness side. Our website, thiscityisgoingonadiet.com, attracted 47,116 people to sign up and pledge to lose weight. And you may have noticed, last week we reached our goal of 1 million pounds. And over that 4 years, we have been able to make giant strides in getting the word out about the dangers of obesity. As you can imagine, with 47,000 people averaging over 20 pounds apiece, we have a number of success stories from our campaign. But I want to draw your attention to the story of twin brothers Dan and Dawn Evans. They are Oklahoma City police officers, and in the past year, Dan lost 124 pounds and Dawn lost 130. That's right. Between them, they lost over 250 pounds, and they are sitting right down here. Would you guys please stand? Great examples of taking control of their lives, and I am sure it was not easy, but when we made the announcement over at the zoo about the 1,000,000 pounds, they stood up and spoke, and they said, it's that age-old combination of diet and exercise. It's not tricky. And we are proud of you too on multiple levels. Congratulations. And 2 days ago, I received an email. It says, "Dear Mr. Mayor, congratulations on the city hitting the 1,000,000 pound mark. It takes a lot of hard work to lose weight. My name is Mason Carter Harvey from Guthrie. I wanted to sign up on the website but couldn't because I'm only 12. Just 1 year ago, I was 206 pounds in the 6th grade. I was so tired of being picked on and tired of feeling lazy all the time. I put down my Xbox 360. I started playing more outside, playing sports and riding my bike. I stopped drinking pop. I stopped eating as many chips and candy. I took a course at the YMCA and I started losing weight. And the more I lost, the better I felt. The better I felt, the harder I worked and the more I lost. Today, I am 120 pounds. I have lost 85 pounds. I was the center for my junior high football team this year. And best of all now, I have lots of friends and feel really good. Have a fun day. Mason Carter Harvey." And Mason is here with us today. Mason, would you stand? And he got out of school to come hear the mayor talk. What a day. Overall, there are 3 factors then that should make us optimistic about improving our health statistics: rising income, improved infrastructure, and better information. But at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to us. It's still going to come down to action. Our schools have improved their menus. There are signs that grocery stores with fresh fruits and vegetables are more likely to move into underserved areas. But better access alone is not going to be enough. We need a better attitude. And when you think about it, there is no reason we can't do better. We have placed higher and higher standards on this community time and time again. We must continue to place higher and higher standards on ourselves. Our approach to dealing with wellness, from the groundbreaking work at the City County Board of Health to our infrastructure changes, is drawing national attention as a model for other communities to consider. To that extent, give yourself a round of applause as we continue to prioritize health in this community. One advantage of the city's progression is that we are better able now to keep and attract the most talented young people in the next generation. Young people with choices about where they're going to live. Many of them are choosing to live here. And speaking of the next generation, we pride ourselves in Oklahoma, I know, of providing great athletes. Most of us, if we gave much thought of it at all, could name local athletes that have come from Oklahoma and gone on to produce great things at the college level or the professional level or the Olympic level. But what our young people are producing right now is historically unprecedented. You can start at the college level, where Brandon Whedon at Oklahoma State and Ryan Broyles at Oklahoma, both from our metro, both among the top college athletes in the country. But at the professional level, in the last 2 years, we have watched Sam Bradford become the #1 pick in the NFL draft, Blake Griffin become the #1 pick in the NBA draft, and this year in baseball, Matt Kemp became arguably the best player in the National League. He just signed an 8-year contract for $160 million. having 3 of the best young stars in pro baseball, football, and basketball simultaneously is more than just remarkable. And in the last few years, all 3 have emerged from our playgrounds to the brightest stages that the world of professional sports has to offer. Meanwhile, the kids that are using our playgrounds today are getting new schools, new classrooms, new gymnasiums, new technology, all because of your investments in Maps for Kids. And 2011 was a big year for Maps for Kids. 2012 is going to be a bigger year, it'll be an even bigger year for Maps for Kids when you think about it. Here are the numbers from the Oklahoma City School District. Work at 34 of the schools has already been completed. There is currently construction taking place at 29 more schools, and all of those 29 will be completed by the end of the year. There are 7 schools that are in the design phase that will go to bid this spring. The downtown elementary school is in design, so it could be under construction a year from now. And then the final project will be the administration building. More on that will unfold as time passes. But let me show you a picture that I think speaks loudly to the quality and integrity of the program. This is the auditorium at Capitol Hill High School. With Maps for Kids dollars, it has returned the building to its former glory. Now let's switch over to Maps 3. We have 7 citizen-led subcommittees tasked with providing direction on the projects. They are making recommendations to the Maps 3 Citizen Advisory Board, and then those recommendations go to the City Council. Now, as most of you know, with the MAPS model, we pay for these projects with cash. So it takes a while to collect the penny and build the projects, but it should be interesting to watch over the next few years, to say the least. Here is a status report, and we'll start with the Senior Health and Wellness Centers. Expect 4 of these facilities to be built. The first center is in the process of being developed right now. In 2012, so this year, look for the first site to be selected and the first building to be designed. Construction on this first center should take place in 2013. The Jogging and Biking Trail Committee has been very busy. They've been concentrating their work on a trail that will connect the Oklahoma River with Lake Overholser. Construction there should begin in 2013. The sidewalks that come with MAPS 3 will be built in 2 phases. The subcommittee is working on a master plan right now. Construction on those MAPS 3 sidewalks should begin no later than 2014. In the meantime, you're going to see lots of other sidewalks being constructed around the city, but most of that came from the bond issue that we passed in 2007 and not from MAPS. The Convention Center is the biggest of the MAPS 3 projects. The site has been selected. I would expect the land to be acquired sometime later this year. The streetcar subcommittee has been very busy. The Santa Fe station has been selected as the site of the multimodal hub, and this year we'll begin the process of acquiring that site. 2012 should be a year in which a lot of the engineering work concerning the streetcar is accomplished. The subcommittees working on the downtown park are making good progress. Land acquisition is going well. This year, expect some steps toward developing the master plan. We are also going to be bringing in an environmental engineer to start working on the upper park. The subcommittee looking after the river improvements is working on 3 different phases: the lighting, the windscreens, and the whitewater facility. And a lot of that design work should be completed this year. And finally, at the fairgrounds, a consultant is being hired to refine the master plan. I expect some of that work is going to start to emerge before the end of the year. As for Project 180, I assume I don't have to tell this group all about it. You couldn't have gotten to this building without seeing it. It involves parks and roads downtown. Over 2 miles of new roads have already been completed. 557 trees have been planted. 11 new intersections with all new traffic signals and crosswalks have been completed. Over 200 lights have been added for pedestrian traffic, and over 100 new lights have been installed for vehicles. 2011 was in fact a big year for completing or nearly completing several big projects. The Myriad Botanical Gardens has reopened and is living up to all expectations. Raise your hands if you've had a chance to visit the Myriad Botanical Gardens and see all of the improvements. It's quite amazing. Truly a gem. The entire city, I know, is very proud of it. The improvements at the Chesapeake Energy Arena continue. The sections on the arena that are completed are a significant upgrade over what we had originally. The large expansion on the southwest side continues under construction, and it'll be ready by next season. The Oklahoma City Skydance Bridge is virtually complete. It's a truly iconic piece of art that will be visible to over 100,000 visitors a day. And of course, the new section of I-40 itself is in the final stages of completion. We held the ribbon cutting for the eastbound lanes earlier this month. How about another show of hands? How many of you have already been on the new highway? Okay, virtually everyone here. It looks fantastic, and I know Gary Ridley is here today. Gary, thank you for you and your staff's work on all this. We really appreciate the Department of Transportation. The westbound lanes will be opening up soon, and then we'll be starting to work on the boulevard that's going to replace the old I-40 alignment. The boulevard is under engineering right now. All told, this project is the largest civil engineering investment in state history. And once again, let me thank the State Department of Transportation, and please show your appreciation to our friends down at ODOT. On the Oklahoma River, the Chesapeake Finish Line Tower is completed. One more element of what is becoming the finest venue in the world for the sports of rowing and canoe and kayak. At the fairgrounds, more investments in the horse show business. We remain the horse show capital of the world. 2011 was probably the biggest year we've had for retail in a long, long time. The outlet shops of Oklahoma City opened on August 5th. Sunflower Market opened in August. And Whole Foods opened up a 35,000 square foot store in November. Store officials with Whole Foods tell us that it was one of the top launches in their chain's history. And as for events, well, it doesn't get much bigger than the NBA playoffs. The Thunder advanced all the way to the Western Conference Finals in 2011. And simply put, nothing puts our city's brand onto the worldwide stage in a positive manner better than our basketball team. Soon after we departed the NBA playoffs, ESPN was back in town for another one-week run at the Women's College World Series. Millions are now watching these games from Hall of Fame Stadium, and last year, once again, we set another attendance record. And finally, I mentioned at the beginning that we had a lot of new people arriving in Oklahoma City. Not all of them are people. At the zoo, Maylee, our first ever baby elephant, was born on April 15th. She weighed 304 pounds at birth, and she eventually got up and has been eating nonstop ever since. She now weighs nearly 1,000 pounds. Maylee is doing quite well. And our new elephant exhibit overall is quite incredible. And there's Rex. Rex is our new African elephant. He's 43 years old. He's just moved here from Canada. And you know, I tend to think he's quite handsome. I like his rugged good looks. But it doesn't really matter what I think. We're hoping that Maylee's mother and Maylee's aunt think he is equally as handsome, because we'd like to see Maylee have a brother or a sister or a cousin real soon. So stay tuned and keep supporting one of the world's great zoos. I also mentioned earlier that we have created a city where highly talented 20-somethings with options about where to live are choosing to live in Oklahoma City. While you were eating lunch today, the Oklahoma City Thunder announced that Russell Westbrook has signed a new long-term contract with Oklahoma City. So congratulations to the Thunder. We appreciate everything you do for us. Let's have a good year. It is going to be really hard for 2011 to match 2012, but let's see what you can do. And I have a feeling you won't let me down. Thank you. Godspeed.